Imagine waking up tomorrow with no alarm, no phone buzzing, no glowing numbers, no backup alarm, no app screaming beside your bed. At first, that sounds peaceful. Until everyone else has the same problem. No one has the same signal to follow. The baker wakes late. The workers arrive at different times. The market stalls open one by one, out of sync. A school bell rings before half the street is ready. The whole morning begins to drift. Because before alarm clocks, waking up was not just your problem. It was something the world did with you. If you had to be awake before sunrise, you might trust the light at the window, a rooster, a church bell, a factory whistle, a person in the house, or, in some industrial towns, a paid stranger outside the window with a long stick. The modern alarm did not just replace a noise. It replaced a chain of people, habits, animals, buildings, and public time. That is the old human system we are opening today. Start with the body. Before a machine made noise beside your head, the room itself gave clues. Light changed first. Not bright daylight, just a thin gray edge around the window, enough for the body to know that night was ending. Temperature changed too. The coldest part of the night passed. The fire was lower. The air felt different. Animals outside began to move before humans did. And inside the body, hunger, habit, and sleep pressure did their quiet work. This was not accurate like a clock. It could not tell you 6:17. But it did not need to. For much of daily life, the question was not what exact minute is it. The question was, has the day begun enough to do the next thing? For many people, in many places before cheap personal alarm clocks, waking up was not measured to the exact minute. Farm work, household work, and travel could follow light, weather, hunger, animals, and the rhythm of the place. If the sky was still dark, the day had not fully opened. Time was not only something in your pocket, it was in the street. Then came the shared signals. A bell did not wake one person, it woke an area. A rooster did not know your schedule, but it told the whole yard that something had changed. A household did not need 5 separate alarms if one person was already up to light the fire, prepare food, open the shop, or check the animals. Morning spread from person to person. One body woke another body. One sound crossed a street. One open door told the next house that the day was beginning. This is the part modern alarms make invisible. The old morning was not one perfect signal. It was many imperfect signals overlapping until enough people were awake. So the old morning was layered. Nature could start it. Public sound could announce it. Family could enforce it. Work could punish it. And later, in some cities, a specialist could sell it. But a layered morning changes when time gets strict. Once work moved into factories, offices, railways, schools, and shifts, the morning became less forgiving. Being late was no longer just missing the best light. It could mean missing the gate, losing pay, or failing a job before the day had even started. Industrial time hardened the morning. A farmer could sometimes shift work with the weather. A household could sometimes begin slowly. A village could sometimes move with light. But a factory gate was different. A train schedule was different. A school bell was different. These systems did not care whether your room was still dark or your body wanted another hour. They needed many people to arrive at the same time, because the work itself depended on synchronization. This is where waking up became someone else's business. In parts of industrial Britain and Ireland, one famous answer was the knocker up. The job was simple and strange. Walk the streets early, stop outside a customer's window, and wake them before their shift. Some used a long pole to tap the glass. Some used small tools to make noise without waking the whole street. The important part was not the tool. It was the promise. For a small fee, another human being would remember that you had to be awake. Think about what that means. The worker is asleep. The factory is waiting. The clock is moving. And between sleep and lost wages stands a person walking through the dark, carrying other people's mornings on a route. A phone alarm feels personal because it lives beside your bed. A knocker up was the opposite. Your wake-up call was outside, in public, attached to a route, a payment, and a relationship. If they skipped your window, you might not wake. If you did not pay, they might not return. The first button of the day was not a button at all. It was trust. And this is why the story is not simply people had no alarms until recently. People invented ways to wake at set times for thousands of years. Water clocks, mechanical clocks, programmable alarms, and watches existed in different places and periods. But existence is not the same as everyday access. For a long time, a reliable personal alarm was not a cheap object sitting next to every bed. A bell tower could be public, A household clock could be expensive. A worker might live near a whistle. A servant, relative, neighbor, or paid caller might do the waking. The personal alarm clock compressed all of that. It took the body cue, the public sound, the household chain, the factory demand, and the paid wake-up service, and moved the responsibility indoors. This is why the alarm became more than a convenience. It was a small machine for joining a large schedule. Once a reliable alarm could sit beside the bed, the town did not have to wake you. A stranger did not have to tap your glass. Your device could make you responsible for your own punctuality. And then, the phone made that responsibility feel almost weightless. One rectangle could hold the clock, the bell, the backup alarm, the calendar, the reminder, and the blame. That layering is easy to miss, because modern convenience hides the layers. When your phone rings, you do not see the church tower, the factory gate, the neighbor's window, the person with the pole, or the body learning the season's light. You just see one screen telling you that the day has begun. But the old system had one major difference. Waking was social. It connected your body to other bodies. The bell did not ask whether you felt ready. The person outside the window did not know your dream. The household member shaking your shoulder was not an app. The morning arrived through pressure from the world, and that pressure changed how people imagine time. A loose morning says, wake when the day begins. A timed morning says, wake when the system needs you. The difference sounds small, but it changes the first emotion of the day. One begins with light, the other begins with obligation. That is why the alarm is such a perfect first object for this channel. It looks tiny, it feels ordinary, but behind it is a much larger replacement. Before alarm clocks, waking up on time was not just a personal discipline, it was a small infrastructure. Light, temperature, roosters, bells, relatives, windows, sticks, streets, shift work, and trust all did a piece of the job. So tomorrow, when your phone rings, imagine the older version of that sound. Not a ringtone, a gray window, a rooster in the yard, a bell moving over rooftops, a door opening next door, footsteps before dawn, a stick tapping glass, a whole world making sure the day started before you were ready. Every modern convenience replaced an old human system, and the alarm did not just wake people up, it turned the public morning into private pressure.